Hello everyone and welcome to what will be the last The Owl House pre-episode release analysis video on the channel for a long time. Why? Because this week's episode 21 of season 2 will air and it will be the season finale. Because of this, we have a very long list of things to talk about today. So let's start right now and let's start with the most important thing. Is this the end of The Owl House? The answer: no, it's not. Dana Terrace herself confirmed that there will be one more season, season 3, with 3 special episodes that will be around 40 minutes long. Now, we don't exactly know the meaning of the word specials. You could say, oh, it's like a Halloween special, it's like a Christmas special. But given all the loose ends that we have now in the story, and given that the episode, like all the others, is going to be 22 minutes, this weekend's episode, I would say it's almost impossible to give a proper end to the story in those 22 minutes, which means that these 3 specials should be like the show finale, which means you should get ready for some cliffhangers on Saturday. Now, you guys could be like, oh, you're just in there sitting in a chair and talking, you have no idea what you're talking about. You have to give us proper reasons why you are saying that. Well, let's then take a look to all the images and spoilers that we have so far, and we'll see why I'm saying all this that I'm saying. But first, let's do a small flashback to the ending of last week's episode, Clouds on the Horizon. Long story short, Ida is about to get a sigil of the Bard Coven, according to the plan, but then we see Rain with a face of disapproval, and the next time we see Ida, she doesn't show either her hand or her arm, so we don't know if Rain in the last second decided to change the plan or what happened. We'll have to find out this probably in the beginning of the next episode. We have all the gang plus Amity's father ready to go fight Belus. And finally we have Luz being taken to Belus by Kikimora because Kikimora thought he was taking Hunter, but it was all an illusion made by Gus. And let's now move on to this week's episode, King's Tide. The Day of Unity begins. And that's it. That's all the description we get for this week's episode. This means that all we have to help us figure out what the hell is going to happen in the episode is the leaked images. But I have to warn you, you might not like what I am about to show you. You still want to see it? Okay, that's up to you. Let's take a look to it. This is the first image that was shown, and we can see King's School with a crack and then a very weird looking shadow of it. First of all, why is there a crack on King's School? Well, I think it's safe to say that's from a fight, but a fight with who? Probably with Belus. Why? Because Belus has all that thing that he can talk to the Titan and blah blah blah, I'm very powerful. And King, now we know that he is a Titan, and I'm almost 100% sure that that will be told to the entirety of the Boiling Isles. That then is up to them to believe it or not. But one saying that he can talk to the Titan, and the other saying that he is the Titan, it's clearly gonna cause conflict that's gonna lead to a fight, and that's where probably King is gonna have his school cracked. Then we have the shadow of the school that looks like some weird looking grass, but I think that the answer that makes the most sense is if you take a good look, you can see that it kind of looks like the moon in an eclipse. And we know that from the Collector and from a previous episode, I don't remember which one, but when we saw Belus' plan for the Day of Unity, we saw that an eclipse was happening. So I think that the answer that would make more sense for why is the shadow so weird is that the artist that made this drawing was trying to create multiple eclipses. Now, the question that nobody wants to answer is, why do we see only King's School? Like, is it supposed to represent King? Or should I get ready for some trauma? You know what? We should maybe move on to the next image. I think that's our safest option, because I don't like this one very much, although the next one is not much better. And the next image shows King's Collar in a completely cracked stone floor. Now, first, why is the floor cracked? And second, why is King without his collar? I mean, looks like both images are trying to prepare us for some big trauma, and I don't like it at all.
I don't like it.
Anyways, let's move on to the next image where we can see once again King, this time looking at what remains of his father's head. And as I was saying before, there is also the eclipse in the background. And once again, there is this weird looking shadow, this time red. I don't like that the shadow color looks a lot like blood, but I don't have nothing to worry about. Right, guys? Please tell me I don't have nothing to worry about. Moving on, we have our final image that shows Luz fighting someone, probably either Belus or Kikimor. And you could say, oh, but her eyes are looking up and Belus is very tall, Kikimor is very short, but it's definitely Belus. But Kikimor was using the Abomatron 2.0, which is also a tall robot. In addition to this, I would say that Belus should be at the opening ceremony of something of the Day of Unity and not in this place that looks a lot like the cave where the portal and the collector are. And that's it. Those were all the leaked images for this week's episode, the season finale. But we still have one more thing to take a look at, which is a small animation that I will let you guys take a look at, and then we will analyze it slowly. Okay, so first of all, the animation looks like some tears, and that's exactly what I wanted for the season finale. I mean, I couldn't wish for anything else than tears from someone crying. Anyways, each of the tears reveals one of the three main characters, Kings, Luz, and Ida, and let's start by taking a look at King. So the first tear reveals King, and like we saw in the first image, he has a crack on his skull. Unlike we saw in the second image, he is wearing his collar and he's crying. And that's all we can see on this image. The second tear reveals Luz, and the only weird thing about it is that she's crying. The rest looks normal. And the third and final tear reveals Ida. Once again, everything looks normal except that she's crying. But if you take a careful look, you'll see a small detail, which is that she's grabbing her arm right in the place where the Coven sigil should be. Now, it's not the first time we have seen this pose. This is something that represents that the character is physically hurt. Now, this scene, in addition to all the mystery that is surrounding Ida, because we still don't know if he got the sigil or not, makes me wonder what is happening in this scene exactly. But I guess we can't know it right now. Maybe after we see the beginning of the episode and we have a clear answer if Ida has the sigil or not. And even if I see Ida, I won't be convinced that it's really her, because I still want to believe that Rain did a last second change of plans or something like that. And that's it. There is no more images, there is no more animation, there is no more art leaked officially for this episode so far. So maybe after I post this video, something else might appear. Maybe check my community tab. I might post the image if it or the images if they are revealed in there. And I really don't like the way this episode is going. I think it's now clear that King, if you couldn't say it from the title, but that King is going to play a bigger role in this episode. I think it's clear that it will be revealed that he's a Titan, and the rest we can't be sure what's going to happen. I still believe it will end in a cliffhanger because of season 3. I don't like the idea of that, but there's nothing I can do about it. And I'm not gonna say something and I'm gonna end the video right after it, so because it's something very bad. You guys get ready for another True Colors episode.